Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Final Show Films. I'm Sen, your executive producer here, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. Particularly, I want to thank all of our supporters on Patreon, and especially our $25 tier supporters on Patreon, who are Jeremy and Alexander, Samantha Bates, Cat Waterflame, and Elle, without whom we wouldn't be able to do nearly as much of the things that we do now. So, thank you all for your support, and if you're watching live on Twitch, please sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hello everybody, welcome back to Exandria Rising. I am Sen, your game master for the evening, and I am joined this week by Shawnee.
Hi, I am Shawnee, or William, and I am playing Najka, the Orcish craftsman.
And Jack.
Hi, I'm Jack. I'm playing three goblins, meaning Manny Gatsby and Peas, who are Bardadin.
And Holly.
Hi, I'm Holly. I'm playing Davina. She's a silky folk mystic.
And Jeremy.
I'm Jeremy. I am playing a character, Elafira Gilrick, who is a Water Genasi rogue.
Just
I'm glad you're playing a character.
Had to flip through that Rolodex a little bit before you got to
A little bit.
And
I'm playing fucking somebody. I'm playing is it a new?
I'm definitely playing.
No.
They probably smoke and drink.
Craig.
Hi, I'm playing Grouper, who is a fisherfish druid, Circle of the Moon.
I feel like someone with gills smoking would be even worse than someone with lungs smoking, because now you've got two different things that will get cancer.
That's gonna be the next stage in the sort of the saga, is just Grouper going through the process where he's just jamming multiple cigarettes into the gills.
Although I think one of Guillermo del Toro's movies had a fish person smoking, and it's just like inhaling through the mouth and then exhaling smoke through the gills, which was really visually interesting, but definitely not healthy. And
you don't want to know how he takes snuff.
Maybe Abe did it in Hellboy? I don't know.
It was Abe Sapien from Hellboy.
It would have to be Abe, because there's no way that it was the main character from Shape of Water.
I was thinking, wasn't there also a fish person?
No, Michael Shannon totally smoked in that.
Wasn't there always...
I said the main character.
I know you did.
I feel like that suit has been used in like two other movies of his as well, and I can't think of what they are.
The only ones I know of are the two Hellboy films and Shape of Water. There are similar looking characters in other films because that is Del Toro's aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like similar looking the Spanish one.
Del Toro really wants you to fuck Azora from Legend of Zelda, and he will put them into all of his movies until you do.
He also wants to do that.
That too. Anyways. And also joining us, Trevian.
I'm Trevian. I am playing Tenebris, a mouse person witch.
And when last we left off, the group of as yet unnamed asterisk adventurers have acquired a highly advanced ship from the former flying city of Tuatacala that has been their island home for as long as they can recall, the Brattacadi Ragnarok, which might be shortened to Ragnarok at some point in the future, who knows. After familiarizing themselves with the ship, they got it back to the port of Skrios and got it illusioned and touched up in order to make it look more like a normal ship than the highly advanced super ship that it is. Although incomplete as it is, got themselves a little bit more familiar with its operations, and also spent some downtime achieving a few different goals, which we will get to after we rewind a bit, because I bookmarked a few different flashback moments earlier in the campaign, and we're starting with Grouper and Tenebris, because upon seeing the Blackticade Ragnarok before having actually gotten aboard it or anything like that. Grouper had a conversation he wanted to have with Tenebris. So the screen goes as you all are occupying yourselves with various downtime tasks aboard the Ragnarok, looking out towards the horizon where Stilben will eventually come into view. Everybody's vision does the wibbly we're going underwater now thing. As we flash back to Grouper and Tenebris in the hangar of the construction area where the Ragnarok was then docked.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us for today's deleted scenes. These are some scenes that wouldn't fit on the broadcast cut of the episode, but we thought you might enjoy them, so let's jump in.
Now I want to go back and do deleted scenes for all of our completed campaigns.
Holy
That would
shit!
be fantastic.
I am here for it.
Ideas that players had that never really got to, or that players and GMs had that we never really got to see or visualize.
In fact, the next time I have a character die, I don't want to bring in a new one. I just want to have deleted scenes for the rest of the campaign with that character.
That would be fantastic.
Anyway,
I don't participate in anything new.
Anyways, while I go think about how I would even get that done, take it away, Craig.
I'm sorry, the door to my secret lair has just opened. Oh, a child with food. Thank you, child.
It's the plate with sauce.
I appreciate you. You're the best. Thank
Hello,
you.
child.
Hello.
Thank you, child. I love you.
I love you too.
All right. So, Drevian, out of character, do you need the ship described to you?
No.
Okay. All right. So then we're sort of standing there. Gruber, as everybody's taking in, Gruber just kind of leans over towards Tenebris and says, have you ever seen anything like this?
Like, I imagine Tenebris's closest comparison are the sky ships that he would have saw up close and
Yeah, like
Lightstone.
like you can definitely see. Give me a what's your tool that you get for being a shipwright?
Carpenters.
Give me a carpentry's tools with intelligence with advantage.
With advantage. 21.
21. Yeah, you have definitely. You can see. If it was linguistics, we'd say the etymology. You can see the ancestry of modern day skyships in the design of this. It's definitely unique. Nothing that is used in modern day has quite the same sculpt or quite the same ideation behind it. And you're sort of seeing, if we were to add this here and change the materials to this and this, then it would definitely look more like a more modern skyship. So yeah, you can definitely see the lineage of modern skyships in this, but you have not seen anything specifically like this before.
Yeah, Tenebris, would point out, and you can, follow his finger, kind of traces the shape of the hull, and it's that's a little bit different, but, the construction technique is similar. This is pre-calamity materials, but, they do similar stuff with modern metals, and, points out features that you can see in modern skyships, particularly.
Grouper nods as he listens. I'm imagining, and correct me if you don't think this works, but I'm imagining this is, obviously a much stranger situation of this, but something that these two have done a lot over the years. Like on the docks, when a new type of ship comes in, Grouper would ask about it because he doesn't know about construction other than what he learns from Tenebris.
Yeah, Tenebris would be perfectly happy to, oh, this is... I haven't seen this style of ship before, and points out things. He'd particularly point out things that make it different from other ships.
I imagine Tenebris can probably tell you the nation of origin of most of the ships that come through the port.
Yeah.
If Tenebris doesn't know, then he
that's what I was
finds
hoping.
out.
Yeah. So with that in mind, actually, you would say that the thing that strikes you as from this is that you, based on the design, you imagine that this is far, 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 far back. But definitely, this is most reminiscent to you of ships and skyships of the Dwendalian Empire. Like you imagine that it's definitely Wildmount. Like this is where Wildmount's ship designs probably came from.
Okay.
That's the one to the northeast, right?
Yeah.
Yes. That is heavily Germany themed.
May I roll to see what Grouper knows about the Dwendalian Empire?
Sure. Give me a history check.
13.
13. You have been told, you have heard that it is the largest single nation on the continent of Wildmount. You don't know if that's true, but that's definitely how they portray themselves. You know that they are, they have the royal lineage is a king, the line of kings of Dwendal, hence Dwendalian Empire. You know that they are very militaristic, that they have a lot of different sort of they have a lot of different military orders, and that they have a variety, but largely focused on religious culture of largely focused on the primary like good deities: Bahamut, Arathis, Ion, Morden, Pelor, and the Raven Queen.
Okay.
Yeah, it's big and it's landlocked, except for the very far north.
Does that mean you think that maybe that place used to be a, flying city? Like this island? That's too tenebrous.
Yeah.
I feel like if Tenebrous has ever seen a map, he would know that it's way too big for that.
That's what I'm trying to think. It's like, is there
They might
is there a
have
terrain feature that looks like it could be?
Nothing that strikes you as far as you've seen from maps or anything. You imagine, based on this, mostly culturally passed down this design aesthetic more than
So
it was a crashed city.
two groupers, like, I don't know of any terrain features that would match up with like a crash flying city, but I imagine maybe like refugees from the flying cities might have settled there, and that continued on the legacy culturally.
But that makes sense. Does Tenebrous seem excited about this ship at all? Is he just kind of being
A little bit,
blasé?
like, he's definitely paying attention to the ship. Like, if he's not directly talking to you or listening to you speak, like in the moments when he's thinking, he's looking at the ship.
Okay.
He's fascinated by the ship, at the very least.
Yeah.
You want to get in there and see how that thing's put together?
Certainly.
Grouper will reach out. Tenebrous is comfortable with like shoulder pads, right?
Yeah.
Right. Grouper reaches out, damply pats him on the shoulder. Let's get you on there, then.
And the scene would
And
have continued as it did, I assume.
What's that?
And then the scene would have continued as it did, I assume, with y'all talking to the architect and getting on. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So then we wrap that up. Holly had wondered, Craig, do you think there would have been any sort of conversation between Grouper and Davina after splashdown, after Davina launched the ship and everything landed and calmed down?
I personally had the feeling Grouper was not the happiest with Davina when she went ahead and took over control of the ship. But I wasn't sure if anything should come of that.
Well, Grouper, as we all know, is very forthright with his emotions and likes to talk things out and not stew it silently for years. So, I don't think Grouper would have initiated that conversation.
Okay, no, that was my main question there.
Would you have wanted to initiate that conversation, Holly?
Only if Grouper's behaving in a way around her that would make her think that they are angry with her.
I mean, Grouper did gripe a lot.
I don't think there wouldn't be, even if you're picking up on it, I don't think that there would be any anger. It was a little disappointment, but I think that was largely overwhelmed by the concern if everyone was okay after the ship splashed down. Because everybody did get tossed around a lot.
Craig, did you watch that episode? The episode you missed last week?
I listened to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you would have know about Tenebris getting launched off the ship?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not.
Slight distractions.
Yeah. So when the ship, Tenebris was out on the deck when the ship fell out of the sky, and managed to hold on until the ship hit the water, and then let go just enough to get slingshotted off the ship.
Yeah, I almost killed Tenebris.
No, he was fine.
Well, Tenebris is always drowning anyway, so how much worse can you make it?
Yeah,
really?
Largely
She did feel very bad about that.
Then after that point, the ship was taken around to the other side of the sort of the tip of the island, and everyone scaled the cliffs to get up back to the gateway. So now we flash back to a scene for the Good Goblins.
That's the Good Goblins remembered that it was
yes, that it was still open.
Obvious, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You had to give you framework so you can jump in wherever you want to add additional detail or description. After sailing around to the other side of the island, the group of you scaled the cliff face, about a 200-foot climb, which with ropes and everything made it a little bit easier, to get basically right back next to the entrance to the exhibition hall. And then upon getting there, the suit sort of went into autopilot a little bit as the Good Goblins let Martin Victoria run the protocols that it knew to close the thing up. It went forward. It interfaced with the monolith that had split open to form the teleportation pad, which then slammed back up to a close, unclogging the well that it had clogged inadvertently when it collapsed down. It's no longer
and the
covered.
River starts again.
Yeah, and so the river, the water began flowing. Actually, the river never dried. The river never dried out. It's just that the well was now stopped up instead of pouring in. But the well was now open and accessible. The water was once again pouring out. The monolith was back. It was no longer covered in grass and in like plant growth and anything like that. But it was now up and visible and now just a monolith. Which is at which point I indicated that you had done your thing. So go ahead and take it away.
Gatsby's gonna hop out of Martin Victoria and climb up to sit on its shoulder and say, "Hold on, guys, hold on." And she starts casting a spell that sort of like turns her hand into a spray paint and starts painting on right over the gold pad that you needed to interface with to get it to open up. The intent is to cover that up so it's less obvious. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She looks delighted by this harebrained idea she's had. And when she's done, she's got a painting of water pouring and splashing on the ground. There is also a torch at the bottom of the spill of water, which, from its lack of detailing, is very clearly not the subject of this. And from the smoke rising behind the water, is indicated as having been recently extinguished. This is what it looks like.
Nice.
Hey guys, we're all water people. We should. This should be our team name. Something like the firefighters or something.
Najka, the explicitly flame-themed person in the background.
Hold on, I'm looking the word up. Where is
It's in the chat.
Yeah, no, I couldn't find the tab. Okay. I'm sorry, Sen, can you tell me how to pronounce that again?
Nivinaya.
Okay. Yeah, just quietly and out loud, Davina will say Nivinaya.
What?
Ooh, yes.
Sorry, what does that translate for those of us who don't speak Aquan?
A big
Extinguish.
grin spreads over Grouper's face.
Extinguisher.
I like it.
Desby, knowing how it's written out, also grins and adds that next to the
In Aquan or in Common?
in Aquan.
Right, so yeah.
Aquan script.
Yeah, this flowing script that looks visually, pictographically, looks like a characterization of a tidal, sort of a large wave rolling over a series of smaller waves, and also sort of smoky implications of smoke in the script.
I like it. Grouper will give a thumbs up, 2 thumbs up to Davina.
Desby will turn to Najka and say, "You said we needed one of those, right?
Probably a good idea.
I think we picked one."
Got enough?
Is that like, I mean, is he gonna piss off your granddad? To Najka.
Isn't your granddad always pissed off?
I mean,
A,
like, more.
Yes, he's always pissed off. But B, he's not a torch. And good luck extinguishing the forge.
Yeah, like in ancient Dwarvish, you just get a muttering about it'll take more than a little piss poor bit of puddle to extinguish a forge.
Nice.
Don't know if any of you understood that, but yeah.
I mean, you're the only one that heard it.
Okay, it wasn't out loud. It was just to Najka.
It never speaks out loud. It only ever speaks to you.
I think it's spoken out loud once. When someone
Only you are
insulted the hammer
worthy of hearing it.
during like our initial training, I think it spoke out loud once.
Possibly, but largely it only speaks to you.
Yeah, it only
Largely,
speaks
you're
out
the
loud when
only
it
one
feels-
worthy of hearing its old man grumblings.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's less being like having heard it speak and more just being aware that Najka can hear it speak.
There. But yeah.
Oh, but before we go, Grouper, can you just gestures at the entirety of the tower? It's kind of obvious right now. With all the plants gone? Is there anything you can do?
Group, we're at a level where he can do plant growth or something like it.
I mean,
Or if Druidcraft does anything? Maybe the answer's no.
Very, very slowly, yes.
Maybe the answer's no.
Remind me of the specific problem, though.
When the temple or when the pyramid opened, it shook off millennia of plant life and made it look much more obvious.
Okay. I mean, I can.
So part of the problem is not just the plant growth missing from on the tower, but also the evidence of the removed plant growth around the tower.
Yeah. I mean, if we got some time, I can start things going at least. Yeah. It's not going to cover the whole thing yet, but I can do what I can.
Make me a nature check, Gerber.
I am now much better at those thanks to the new rules. That is a 21.
Yeah. With a 21, you know that this side of the continent is preternaturally fast at growing things, largely because of the abundance of ether that's flowing into it via the river, the exhaust river that's coming out of the facility. Do you have Druidcraft as a cantrip?
I do, yeah.
You imagine that you won't be able to get it. You won't be able to get it like back to what it was, but on a few instances of using Bloom here and there will probably be enough to get it started. And it, even if you didn't, it would probably overgrow this place within a year or two. Again,
maybe just get it covering the door up again.
I mean, maybe we could get some natural growth going, and then we could just camouflage a little bit.
Yeah, sounds good.
So, I understand we want to cover up this. How, the whole extinguishers thing, how subtle are we looking to be about that?
Subtle in terms of, like,
but
are we going to be walking around parading fuck torchbearer signs? Is that what you're asking?
I mean,
I'm parading this one right here. This one's definitely meant to be seen if they ever come by.
I mean,
I think the name Nibanaya as a group name is detached enough from the torchbearers that it won't make it very obvious what our goal is when people hear the name walking around. But is also useful as making it more obvious when need be.
It's a code, yeah. No, I agree. We're gonna need to have a level of subtlety to this. I'm certainly not laughing because of nervousness over how subtle we as a group can be. But I think that the name is enough. I agree with Najka.
Okay. Subtle it is.
That said, we can leave this one here because fuck him.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
All right. Yeah. I mean,
like, it's, to be clear, I think the torchbearers are going to know that we're onto them fairly quickly. If nothing else, the fact that Davina is with us is going to make that very clear.
All right. So maybe,
but
yeah, let them find out the hard way.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's just like a damp smack as Grouper slaps one very soft fist into a very soft, wet palm.
Byron will chime in from the back. Oh wait, no, he waited on the boat. He waited on the boat, right? He and Worm will stay on the boat to make sure it doesn't float away.
I am highly amused by the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different water-themed individuals, and then the one fire person.
5?
Sorry, 7 because there are 3, or because there are
the goblins aren't themed.
That's right.
They're not. They don't have.
I was gonna say, where are you?
They're far more. Anything Martin Victoria is Earth elemental. Yeah.
They're far more electrically themed, honestly.
Maybe there's some hydraulics in there.
Four water themed individuals. The party is mostly water themed, then the one fire person explicitly.
Mm-hmm.
You might be the biggest, but you're not the most.
We outnumber you.
Oh, great. So we all speak Elvish. What?
Anyways. So yeah, are you using Druidcraft, Grouper?
Yeah, I think we'll look around, maybe start gathering up some dead vines and things to sort of throw over it. 1, to disguise the open area, and 2, to provide the beginnings of mulch and growth paths for other things.
The first thing you notice is that all the plant growth that was like torn off by the thing ripping open aren't dead.
Okay.
Still very much alive. Just got
it will also help with the movement of plants.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, then I'm going to turn into... I have a climb speed as a giant octopus.
I somehow
imagine you wouldn't.
Let's take a look.
Octopi can climb.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of the joke of the giant Pacific tree octopus.
Yeah, right. I'm going to, let's see. Well, it is certainly the most suited out of my various forms that I can turn into. So I'm going to turn into
a climb speed.
All right. I'm going to still turn into a giant octopus. And you know what? I'm actually going to stop and turn to Tenebris and say, "Hey, I had an idea. I thought maybe I could turn into an octopus again and carry stuff up and just use that to start moving some of these vines back onto the side. But I didn't want to catch you off guard again. Sorry again about last time. Is that okay?"
As long as you're not trying to grab me, I don't see a problem.
Absolutely. Just don't look like a stick for like the next 20 minutes.
You do know you'll need to hold your breath before you turn into a giant octopus because they cannot breathe out of water.
Yeah.
They can't.
I got this. What could possibly go wrong?
They can't hold their breath for an hour, but you have to have a breath first to hold it.
Yeah. So, not a problem. I climb up into the thing of water that we have, and on the back of Martin Victoria, and I say, "You might want to sit down, buddy." And then while I'm underwater, I will turn into a giant octopus. So I start off with my head underwater. I can get a big go through.
Make a Constitution saving throw as a giant octopus for trying to squeeze into a space much smaller than you.
I would. Okay, first off, I get automatically ejected from spaces smaller than me because I have an open space around me. Second of all, I feel like I should get advantage on that because octopus squeeze real good.
They do, but giant octopus are large beasts, and that barrel is designed for a small creature. You are two sizes too big for it.
Notably, there is just a big pool of water right here. You don't need a small barrel.
Yeah, there's
the
also
whole last well in the river.
Okay, well then I'll do that.
There you go. Much smarter.
I'm so glad we remembered that.
Yes, a giant octopus can squeeze into spaces one size smaller than it without taking any difficulty.
So just to be clear, if I am above water and I shapeshift, I don't start with with a breath of
no. As long as you take a breath before you shift, you'll have one breath of air.
Okay.
But if you start talking, then that's gone. If you're a creature that can't breathe above water.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Totally fair. All right, so I would like to do that thing. I like to turn into a giant octopus and just start grabbing the vines that fell off and kind of rearranging them. And and then once they're all in place, I'll turn back into grouper. I don't think Druidcraft isn't one of my circle spells, so I can't use it while shifted. So I'll just turn back into grouper and then use Druidcraft to help them take root, if that's okay. Yeah. Instead of making blooms, can I make little roots?
Little same function
things
though,
that vines have.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you do that. You use Druidcraft, and you notice as soon as you use Druidcraft, it's having a much bigger effect on this particular plant life than you would have expected it to. Normally, bloom in this case would extend roots or suckers or things like that for one particular section. As soon as you cast bloom on one of the vines, it immediately grows several inches and latches onto whatever you've put it on, and several bits of their flowering buds just up the vine begins to bloom.
Heck yeah!
Just
big
Disney vibes.
While Grouper's moving the vines, Tenebris is going around the base and just kind of coughing water on it to try to add extra moisture.
Sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, it doesn't take very long for you to just sort of anchor the roots and anchor the various vines in and have them blooming again. It's definitely not as covered in foliage as it was, but it's not as not covered as it was beforehand. If that makes sense. But yeah.
So from up the side of the pyramid, Gruber kind of turns around. Says, "How's it look from down there?"
Well, it's a monolith, but yeah.
Looks real good.
Okay. Climb back down.
All right. Anything else here before we fast forward back to Skrios?
I'm good.
Good.
So, in Skrios, there was a week of downtime while things were being done on the ship to fix it. We got everybody else's downtime except for the Good Goblins and Grouper. So let me pull up downtime activities real quick so I can list them out for you. I know what the good goblins are doing, but we'll give this to Craig so that he can think about what Grouper's going to be doing. So your downtime activities that you can pursue, and these are suggestions. You can pick something completely different that's not on this list at all, and not all of these will always be available depending on where you're at. But examples are buying a magic item, carousing, crafting an item, doing some crime, gambling, pit fighting, relaxation, either partaking in or performing a religious service, doing some research, scribing a spell scroll, selling magic items, training, or doing work to earn gold. These are sort of the example ideas that you can do. You can come up with something of your own as well, and I'll figure out mechanics to make it work.
Yep.
But if any of those sound like anything,
I would like to spend 4 days just observing wildlife in the area, kind of studying, working on my wild shapes, and seeing what new animals I can find, and then 3 just Skrios is we're way up high, but is there a way to get down
no,
to
Skrios
fish?
is not. Skrios is at water level.
Oh, Skrios. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, back to our house.
Okay, all right, yeah. So, and then I'll spend 3 days just fishing to make money.
Okay. So you don't need. I think we've already gone over sort of the wildlife that's available on the island. Nothing has changed there.
Maybe do 4 days. I mean, count it as sort of observing things, but maybe just 4 days. I'll swap it then. I'll do 4 days of work and 3 days of essentially religious service, connecting with Kervala. And...
Sure. We'll couch it as work, just for the benefits of for the ease of the mechanics, because it basically downtime activities are a week-long thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then I'll spend a week fishing.
Yeah,
that's fine.
So go ahead and. What is the? Do you have tools for this specifically?
For fishing, I have my fishing tackle, and because I'm a fisher fish, I have I think I gain advantage on ability checks made using fishing tackle.
Okay, so go ahead and give me a fishing tackle with wisdom with advantage.
Well, that sucks. That's a 3 and a 1.
All right.
So that's a 9.
Is that adding your wisdom to it?
Yep. That's with my wisdom.
What's your wisdom modifier?
+4.
Okay. No, that's correct. Well, no. You gain. Hang on. We'll go with the 9.
A crab steals my fishing tackle again.
No, it's just proficiency doesn't go up until next level.
Yeah, that was what confused me. No, it's not that a crab steals your tackle. It's just that this isn't a good time of year for fishing for making money via fishing. Honestly, so you gain.
Hey guys, proficiency.
I'm looking for services.
Not enough pro fish in the sea right now.
So you
Just amateurs.
14 silver. You're able to sell the fish that you made.
Sorry, there's the camera.
14 silver. All right.
All right. And then the good goblins.
There was a scene that I was gonna have. That's
So let's lead into it.
So Pease is gonna bide his time because he knows we've got a week, and he's waiting for a time when most people are busy, and especially both of the other good goblins are busy.
I'm concerned.
So he's going to wait for them both to be preoccupied and then wander off to find Fyron.
Yeah, Fyron's relatively easy to find, and so you wander off. You find he's a tall human wearing full plate or wearing heavy armor with a big hammer on his back. So he's really easy to find.
Tall redhead and heavy armor.
Yeah.
Does he wear it all the time?
Not all the time, but when he's not explicitly taking it off to wind down. He is
knocking on the armor on his thighs to get his attention.
Hello there, Peas. What can I help you with?
You said you can cast Zone of Truth.
Aye.
Would you do that?
What you need it for? Who are you trying to get the truth out of?
I need to talk to Father Martin.
And you need a Zone of Truth for that?
Yes, please.
Make me a persuasion check.
Oh, nope, not that sheet. Get the correct sheet. There's so many sheets. Oh, fuck, I have no inspiration.
Natural 20, though.
Yeah, natural 20.
Oh, thank God.
He was going to help you regardless. This is just whether or not it was he trusts Peas enough to not ask further questions or not.
Peas is very clearly in the Peas zone.
Yeah.
Where Peas is dealing with something right now.
All right. Well, either way, I guess.
He'll turn around and head towards the church.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's called a church.
Yep.
The church.
Church of the Dawnfather. Yep. Well, temple, but I mean, same thing.
Oh, one of the other things, he was waiting for the temple to be pretty much empty.
Sure.
Except for Father Martin. The temple to be empty and his siblings to be busy.
And done so. So yeah, you head up. Father Martin's just he's tending to the temple. He's cleaning things up, moving things around and such. You and Fire.
He's just going to walk into the room and wait to be noticed.
He notices you immediately as you walk in. Hello, Peas. How can I? Oh, I see you've brought young Altorian with you. Fire just nods his head. An odd pairing to see by
ask you a
themselves.
question.
Certainly. What question would you like to ask?
Byron's going to help. And
Byron.
he turns to look at Byron.
Byron just looks up and, Father, the lad wants to ask you a question under his Zone of Truth. Would you mind terribly if I put you in one? Martin, give me an insight check for Peas.
Oh, God. Shouldn't have closed the character sheet.
I don't know why you would.
Because sometimes I don't make the best decisions.
With a 12, Martin is curious, not confused or concerned. He's just wondering what the point of it is, but he acquiesces. And then Byron, just hang on one second. Let me pull up the spell real quick, see what it requires. No material components. Fyron just reaches up and sort of tugs on a holy symbol that's around his neck and utters a few words. And as he does, there's just large, sort of like radiant light that spreads along the floor in this religious pattern, very reminiscent of the sign of the Dawnfather that his symbol has. And as it flares slightly and disappears, you see that there's some sort of magical effect has taken place. And Fyron, all right, the effect's active.
Who brought us here?
Actually, because you're in the thing, go ahead and make a charisma save for Peas.
All right. Ha! We're good at that.
All right, yep. So you did not fall underneath the effect.
I can lie.
Yep. What was the question?
Who brought us here?
Let me pull that up real quick. It was, as I recall, having been many years. It was some devotees of the Cobalt Soul, specifically, yes. I do not recall their names. I don't think it was ever provided, but they wore the blue of the Cobalt Soul.
What do you remember about them?
They were wanderers who had stumbled upon the site of a goblin camp that had been destroyed. Presumably, according to their intelligence, by a group of adventurers based on information that they had received previously. They did not claim ownership of the deed, and did not seem the type to assault anything in force. They had located some surviving goblin children that seemed to have been overlooked, either intentionally or not, and knew of this island as a place of sanctuary, thanks to the Cobalt Soul archives in Creedom. Brought them here to see if they could be tended to and cared for.
Where did they come from?
They had brought a ship from Stilben, though if you're wondering specifically where they brought the goblins from, it was from Kymel, or the area thereabouts.
No, I want to know where I can find them.
That I don't know. They're devotees of the Cobalt Soul, or at least they were. Either the organization itself or one of their various archives around the world would be the place that I would ask at.
What did they look like?
Pair of humans. Both appearing masculine, though obviously that sort of thing isn't always clear. One pale skin, one dark. The pale-skinned one had blue eyes, light-colored hair. The dark-skinned one had also blue eyes, but darker-colored hair. Roughly looked to be in their mid-20s or so. I'm sure they gave me their names, but unfortunately, age being what it is, it does not come to mind.
Would you have recorded it anywhere?
He thinks for a minute. No, we don't have a habit of recording the names of those who bring us fosters, simply because, for any number of reasons, that could be dangerous for them further down the line.
Is there anything else you remember?
Is there something specific you're looking for?
What did they do? What did they say? Where did they go?
They came here. They spoke with me, as I've told you. Explained that they had found a group of goblin children and wanted them to be in a safe spot. They went on from here to Creedom. If I recall correctly, they didn't come back, so they might have left from via an airship, or via a skyship, or they might still be in Creedom. Though they were young and adventuresome, so I doubt they were there for long.
Did you ever see them again?
No.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
He turns around and walks away.
Could I have a question myself, please?
Yes?
What are you seeking?
Everything.
It's quite a large task.
He nods.
Well, if you have any other questions, feel free to bring them to me. With or without your friend.
He nods.
Byron will look after you, see you, and then he'll just nod to Martin and drop the spell.
And Peace will leave.
Mm-hmm. Anything else Peace is doing after that? Right. Was there anything specific that the other good goblins were doing?
Goblin shit.
As far as downtime activities are concerned.
Fuck yeah, goblin shit.
I feel like they probably default to, I guess, carousing. Just generally ensuring that everybody else is making time to have fun with something.
Okay. Let's see. Assuming that you're carousing amongst the I'm assuming that you're carousing amongst the people of the town. That'll be a 50 gold expense for the week to carouse for the week.
Oh God, I don't want to carouse.
Carousing is expensive.
Holy fuck. I just want to take care of my teammates and make sure they're chill. I want to make sure they're not being all stressy and depressy all the time. I don't have 50 gold.
Okay. How about
have you met your adventuring party?
That's why we've got to work at this.
So would you like perhaps try relaxation?
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
That's 100 gold. No.
Holy fuck.
That's because the therapy price is included within it.
In today's economy, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
You have to maintain at least a modest lifestyle while relaxing to gain a bit of the activity. But because you're in your hometown, that doesn't cost you any money. So, characters who maintain at least a modest lifestyle while relaxing gain several benefits. While relaxing, a character gains advantage on saving throws to recover from long-acting diseases and poison. In addition, at the end of the week, the character can end one effect that keeps the character from regaining hit points or can restore one ability score that's been reduced to less than its normal values. This benefit cannot be used if the harmful effect was caused by a spell or some other magical effect. None of that's affecting you, but you spend the week relaxing.
I'm checking in on everybody else to make sure they're not overdoing it.
Sure. All right. Then... Oh, good.
Gruber has spent the week fairly unproductively fishing, so I think that counts as relaxing.
Yeah.
Yes.
At the end of the week, then, you all set off for Stilben on the ship, as designated previously. It's going to take It takes 2 weeks to get to Stilben. We went over the downtime. I think for everyone already. We ended on Tenebrous' downtime, I think. Which resulted in Tenebrous learning 2 things about the ship. Because you spent the 2 weeks just basically investigating the ship and then researching it. You learned that the ship seems to have room for several more systems. It's hard to tell exactly how many, with nothing really to compare it to, but there's a lot of room for additions to the engineering bay. So, depending on what happens whenever you get it to another one of those shipyards, the ship might improve drastically and in odd ways. You also learned how to adjust the display language for the consoles in the engineering bay, which means that you can adjust them from Aquan to any language that you know. So you can make it easier for people that don't understand Aquan to read things if you so desire. As for Gruber and Good Goblins. So, for the 2 weeks that you're here, you're not going to really be able to do anything relating to working or buying or selling magic items or carousing or anything like that, because there's not a...
We're on a ship.
You're on a ship. There's not people to do that with. You could pit fight and gamble if you could convince the rest of your crew to do so. But otherwise... and I had also indicated that it most likely probably had Martin Victoria operating as the pilot for now, simply because so long as at least one of the good goblins is in Martin Victoria, it can just continue to pilot the ship without having to rest or sleep or stop. Which
or re-spell.
Yeah, or cast additional spells.
So they probably are rotating, and all naps are taken.
Rotating shift of good goblins inside the suit.
And every time anybody wants to take a nap, they go pilot the ship.
Basically. But so aside from that, we'll start with Grouper. What would you like to do for your 2 weeks of downtime that you got here?
I mean, realistically, probably more fishing. Also, generally keeping watch in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm more limited now on what I can turn into. I'm trying to remember. I can turn into a reef shark. I probably spend part of the day as a reef shark, like swimming underwater, just to make sure nothing's coming up from beneath.
What's the swim speed on a reef shark?
Good. Sorry, I'm looking it up now. I will let you know that in just a second.
No worries. If you didn't know off the top of your head, I was going to look that up, which I'm doing right now. So.
Right.
Reef shark movement speed is 30-foot swim speed.
So you would find very quickly that the ship moves faster than you when you're in the water as a reef shark. You can obviously ask them to slow down.
No, I don't want to do that.
You turned into an octopus instead and just held on to the ship.
Yeah.
Dangling in the water.
Because then you are moving as fast as the ship.
I'm actually going to. Yeah. No, I think I'll turn into a crab, a giant crab, and sort of like scuttle around on the underside.
Sure. Giant enemy crab. Yeah, but
because that way I can come up above if I need to.
Yeah,
I mean, if you elected for dolphin, I don't know if you've ever seen a dolphin before, but they have a 60-foot swim speed.
Well, see, the problem is now we have 6 forms.
But you can change them out every long rest.
You change one out every long rest.
Yeah, but it's not hard to change one out for like, I need a fast swimmer.
Dolphin is also
like,
Dolphin's CR 1/8, so yeah, you could probably.
We have 2 weeks that could change the entire list at least twice.
Yep.
I turn into something that can swim fast. I'm going to look at swim speeds, and I'll let you know which one.
Sure, dolphin makes sense, and you certainly would have had your opportunity to see them. But yeah, so yeah.
What swim speed do I need?
Anything greater than 40 or greater, basically.
Oh, well, I'm going to be a seal and hang out with Flop.
There you go.
So Flop and I are keeping watch.
Sure. Yeah, 40 lets you keep pace. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
You bet. That is a 23.
So largely you notice that, and this is probably affecting your fishing as well, which is why you haven't been. Which is why you're. We'll get a fishing roll for you in a second. But you notice that most things tend to stay away from the engines of this ship because there's unlike most sailing ships, this thing has engines that are a trio of giant fan blades, basically spooling around in the water, constantly kicking up, creating sort of distortion and turbulence and a danger zone. And just the very nature, Flop doesn't want to swim near the ship, for instance. Just the nature of the engines on this ship tends to keep most things away from the ship. So as you're swimming around, you're not all that terribly concerned about anything anything that wouldn't be able to be spotted from quite a distance away, even if you're not in the water approaching the ship.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I'm actually probably way more concerned about anything approaching the ship, because if it does, it doesn't care about the engines, and that's trouble.
But it's also moving fast enough that most things that wouldn't care about the engine probably also wouldn't see it as an easy snack. So it's not slow moving enough. It's not nearly as slow moving as a regular ship, and it's not as easily approached. So
okay,
you get the sense that at least in the water, while it's moving, the ship is relatively safe from most things underwater.
Okay,
it's above water that you have to worry about. But As far as fishing, go ahead and give me your fishing check.
Can Flop help me?
You already have advantage just from being a fisher.
Oh, that's right. That's better. That's a 21.
21. So you have... Nice.
Maybe I like to just make sure I'm bringing in enough stuff for everybody to eat, and if I catch anything cool, then awesome.
Nothing particularly cool at the moment. But in addition to, you're able to, as a fisher, I think you're just able to like get enough food for people to eat without having to make a roll.
Yeah.
But more specifically, in this instance, you are able to catch and store. 40 gold worth of fish that you'll be able to sell at port, if you so desire.
Yay! Can I make a little salting area on the ship?
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah, yeah, you can salt and preserve. Yeah, so about 40 gold worth of fish. That you can sell.
Can I get my salt by just getting a water in? Like, he's using shape water, and we'll just like scoop a barrel full of water and then move the water out and leave the salt behind.
Absolutely, you can.
Hell yeah! Cantrip desalination plant.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
It's not going to be refined enough to sell, but it absolutely is enough to salt down fish.
Yeah, that's all I want, is just to be able to preserve stuff.
Yeah. All right.
Just bury the fish in it.
Yeah.
That's how you salt cure salmon.
Yep.
But yeah, you have when you hit port, you can sell that fish for that much gold.
Excellent. You start singing old fishing songs.
All right, so that's your 2 weeks. 1 week keeping an eye out, and 1 week fishing. Good goblins. What are y'all doing for 2 weeks? Piloting.
Taking naps in the piloting seat. Gesby, notably, everybody's able to notice that she sort of has a weekly ritual of finding someplace nice to sit and writing letters. But as for downtime activities, Gesby spends her time like entertaining everyone. And Meanie Manny wants to spend time training with Fyron, because Fyron knows a lot of the things that he's learning.
Sure.
So those are the two activities.
Training. So receiving training in a language or tool takes a number of work weeks. Takes a number of work weeks. Or what are you training in specifically? What do you want to train in specifically?
I don't know. I figured practicing combat and stuff.
Okay.
I don't know. Paladin shit.
Is there okay? So you're not looking to pick up any particular proficiency. You're just looking to excuse your paladin levels.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm making this up as we go along. I don't know how this works.
That's why I'm asking, so I can give you additional things.
Pick up. I don't know. Maybe a medicine proficiency.
Okay.
Because that's what he's most interested in with the paladin shit.
All right. What is your intelligence modifier for the good goblins?
1 + 1.
Okay. So you can mark down 2 work weeks out of 9 that you'll have to do for train to get that proficiency. But you're 2 weeks towards 9. Once you've completed 9 work weeks of training, you will have that proficiency. And it doesn't cost you anything if you're training with Fyron, because Fyron, if you're training with somebody that isn't charging you, and Fyron isn't charging you, so. All right. Was there anybody else's downtime activities that I didn't touch on last time? I think we got it.
In terms of while we're there or while we're on the boat?
While you're on the boat.
I don't remember.
Ella and Davina are building a timeline.
That's right.
Of of her lost time.
Yeah, you were doing that, and then Najka was training to learn. Najka was learning Aquan, and Tinarus was researching the ship.
Learning primordial in general.
Yeah, learning primordial. Yeah, so I think that's everybody. So yeah, at the end of the 2 weeks, you see Stilben coming in on the horizon, and as you, I don't know if
I
any
don't
of
know.
you. Oh, go ahead.
Hold on. I don't know who you're learning primordial from, but Pease is more than willing to get in on helping you learn that.
Yeah, she's learning from basically whoever is available at any given time, because most of this party speaks primordial except for her.
Yeah. And
Pease makes himself available quite often.
The only factor that reduces the amount of time it takes is the learner's intelligence modifier rather than the teacher's. So, but yeah, as you see port coming in the distance, and I don't know if any of you care to shout "land ho," but I'm sure one of you does. As you pull in to the docks, to the North Bay docks in Stilben, where there's very clearly, there's plenty of space for a ship to pull in. Those of you that have been through Stilben before pick up this particular unique aspect of the town, and for those of you that have never been to Stilben before, i.e. Grouper, it's fresh and new information for you. Stilben stinks to high heaven. It is the smell of Stilben is so uniquely pungent that it is referred to by most sailors that come through here as the rotted lot. Because Stilben is situated in basically nestled right into the headwaters of a swamp known as the Catal Swamp, which has this very lovely putrescent smell that just emanates and coats the entirety of the town. So please react to that comically and at length while I go deal with a timer that just went off as you pull into the docks, and the first thing you smell is awful in every sense of the word.
I'm particularly reminded of my other D&D group that I go over. It's a town half an hour away, and there is a sugar beet plant there, and the tailwaters from that, and manure, and poor sewage systems.
I hate that.
It just smells.
I'm remembering something that I don't remember if the Good Goblins mentioned this before landing, but they would have had a conversation with everybody, letting you guys know that unless they are out and about themselves, they are not a group of goblins. There is no Meanie, Manny, Gesby, or Pease. Your party member is an Aormaton named Martin Victoria. And that this is important to them because they... Actually, I don't think they say why. Just that they're this is how they are choosing to present themselves to the world. And they would appreciate your participation.
I believe that had been mentioned before, but yes, good for the reminder.
Yeah.
They probably would have reminded y'all before landing.
Go ahead.
That's it.
Oh, I was going to say, Craig, go ahead. You were about to say something.
Just they, them for Martin Victoria?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or it.
Ella's response is simply to go, yep, that's why I leave this place as soon as I can, every time I get here.
Davina will ask them if it's okay to refer to them individually if she's doing it telepathically.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is her main way of communication, so.
Yeah. Martin Victoria just sort of looks about and says, it's useful not to be biological sometimes.
I am curious, in case anybody knows this out of character as a lore thing. I'm not familiar with this area out of character. Is it is the smell just like it's just swamp, or it's like there's something off about the swamp?
I think if I recall correctly, the swamp is not. It's rumored that the swamp is not naturally formed, but rather that it is the result of significant shit and filthing over the course of a long period.
Mm-hmm.
So it smells worse than normal swamps.
Yes.
Town being the very town about the surroundings.
So it is. It's a saltwater swamp, and there is a lot of it's just swampy in the first place, but also B, as far as any of y'all are aware, there's also a large amount of creatures in the swamp that like to maintain their authority in the swamp, regardless of whether or not that is useful to the living people that pass through it. So it's less that it might be unnatural in origin, and more that it is full of dead bodies.
Yeah,
of varying
there's
stripes.
a lot of corpses that are making that swamp smell worse.
If you have been here long enough, and she says this in character, if you've been here long enough that it stops bothering you, you've been here too long.
But yeah, there. Yeah. But
Gruber just sort of goes, wow, I can't wait to be here long enough to turn into something that makes this smell normal.
We are under the impression that this is the kind of town that is best to pass through.
Yes, sometimes. I mean, I've had to. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
I can only imagine that people live here by virtue of going nose blind, says Najka as she puts her helmet on, and it sort of clicks into place.
More or less.
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah.
What's the nature check?
Just to see if I know any kind of critters that would live in a swamp like this, as Grouper is sort of like going, yeah, totally, absolutely, and just sort of sidling towards the railings to look over as we sail in.
The thing that pops into your mind primarily are what are they called? The upsetting frogmen.
Bullywugs?
Yes, bullywugs. Bullywugs are the first thing that come to mind. Beyond that, lizard folk, Sahagin.
I'm more interested in just beast folk. Like, not beast folk, sorry, just beasts.
Just beasts.
Your boy wants to see a gator.
Venomous snakes, things like that. Giant man-eating frogs.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, possibly alligators as well, yes. Or crocodiles.
Everywhere is a safari to Grouper.
Anything that can survive in salt water, because this is a saltwater marsh, so.
Oh, good. Saltwater crocodile.
Right? Of note, we are probably... People here can tell who's a local or not because how you react to the smell. So don't try to pass yourself off as a local.
We should have no problem with that. Says the machine that does not smell.
Yeah, no, legit. Well, you shouldn't pass yourself off as a local probably because they would notice you. They would have noticed you before.
Yeah. My passive perception is 18, Sen, and I'm just constantly looking for critters.
The primary thing that you notice is that mostly seems to be humans around in the town itself. As you're coming into dock, there are you notice a sparse scattering of other ancestries, but largely humans here. The rest of you would know, yeah, mostly a human town. As you come in, a fairly rotund and slightly short human wearing what passes as honestly very fine looking clothes. Definitely not the sort of clothes you would expect someone to wear in a town that smells like this. with a clipboard and papers, like so very, very obviously either a scribe or somebody who's coming in here to deal with your cargo manifests and the like, approaches where you would naturally see to tie up and put down your gangplank to disembark, giving an eye to the ship. It's not the sort of eye that's like, this is not the sort of eye saying that this is a strange ship that I should let people know to steal, but more that that is a fairly unique looking design, and not really thinking more of it beyond that.
Did we talk on the way over as a group about like what we should say we're doing here?
I assume so. Feel free to have that conversation now.
Probably just say that we are passing through. This is a common way station. It's a port people walk through all the time.
We're staying here for just long enough to stock up, meeting a couple of people, leaving again.
None of which is a lie.
Anybody mind if I offload the fish?
Absolutely.
No.
All right.
Go for it.
You do know that you're going to be staying here for 3 weeks.
I think
that's still long enough to meet up with someone. They just have to get here.
Just don't say a few days and it's fine, because 3 weeks is still enough, short enough time for it.
You're right, Johnny, 2 weeks.
Because
2 weeks is still time for this to be a way station spot.
Pretty certain we killed the majority of that time by taking a week to get ready and then sailing.
Yeah, 2 weeks left.
And besides, at a port town, meeting up with someone and taking 2 weeks to do it is pretty normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is all we're here to do. We're not here to do investigation and stuff. We're just waiting for a contact.
I mean, that's the gist of it. That's not going to say I'm not going to be looking into some things.
I was about to say, if there's work to find to tide over those 2 weeks and potentially get some gold in our pouches, I wouldn't say no to it.
I mean, we could probably find something. It just depends on how extensive of a job it is, because we do not want to be not here when Rook shows up.
All right, but we can find some work. This as much of a shithole as Stilben is sent to the nose, it's also quite famous for being where a number of important individuals got their start.
It's not actually. No one knows that the Vox Machina got their start here.
Right.
That's explicit in the lore of Stilben. Nobody knows Vox Machina started here.
Oh, is that okay? Cool.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, we just honestly, it would be best if we lied low, I think. But we can lie low and still check some things out, and maybe if there's a short, quick, go out and there's something needs to be killed, let's go kill it thing.
There's probably a mercenary job or two worth doing.
But yeah, outside of that.
Okay.
All right. So, you dock, you throw down the plank. What do you tell to the customs agent that comes to inspect your ship?
That, particularly, would have had a conversation with Najka beforehand. That, like, particularly between the craftsman and a actual shipwright, it's just a very experimental ship design. We were just messing around, and
if anyone asks, this is a custom-made ship, and we're not here for trade. We are here for travel, and we're stocking up.
Restock on the way to deliver a fancy ship to somebody.
Yeah.
That way, we don't have to explain why we own a fancy ship.
Yeah.
Also,
or why there's so few people on the ship.
If anyone asks the ship's name, Bratikedi Ragnarok is long and very specific. I think we're probably better off just shortening it to the Ragnarok.
I'm just gonna say that's my ship.
Yep.
Our ship. Actually,
Customs
their
cus-
ship.
Customs officers are going to ask the name of the ship.
Craig?
What's the name of the ocean/sea that we just sailed
the
over?
Lucidian Ocean. The Lucidian Ocean.
Lucidian?
Mhm.
Okay. Gruber, then if we're talking to the customs agent, Gruber will pipe up and say, I also got some of the finest fish out of the Lucidian Ocean, salted and ready for sale.
Yeah, so only cargo we're looking to sell is fish that we caught on the way, basically.
All
as
right.
far as we tell the
Delicious fish.
Who is leading the conversation with the with the customs agent?
Najka's not the most charismatic, but she has done this stuff before.
I can do it.
Sure.
Any other volunteers?
Tenebris is charismatic and also has worked on docks a bunch.
All
So
right.
knows the etiquette and
Then can I assist and give you guidance? Would this be persuasion?
Depends on how you're trying. From what you've presented to me so far, it'll be persuasion. If you want to add any extra wrinkles to it, it might change.
Yeah, so I mean, if we want, the three of us can approach this the ideal way with Najka and Tenebris being familiar with the work. Najka will give Tenebris advantage, and if Grouper wants to provide guidance on top of that.
Yeah, these days I have to say on which skill. So it makes a
on
difference if it's persuasion.
So as of right now, it'd be persuasion. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then yeah, Gruber will be there to chime in about how delicious the fish is, and will pat Tenebris on the shoulder, and say, "You got this. You got this. You can do it." And I'll give you guidance on persuasion for the next minute.
All right.
Najka will assist, being the other person who's very familiar with these kinds of procedures.
advantage on persuasion. And the
thing, too.
guidance gives me
An extra
So,
D4.
Extra D4 on all your persuasion rolls for a minute.
So 14. The customs agent Erelon just walks up and begins a relatively normal conversation. He's given us a look of someone who probably thinks a lot about themselves, but he's not the kind of person that would present that foot forward to newcomers. And with a 14, fairly basic. Yeah, just checking to see where you're coming from, where you're going, how long you're going to be here. You give him relatively honest answers that aren't explicitly trying to string him along or anything like that. He notes it all down. Asks the name of the ship. I'm assuming you give him the Ragnarok.
The Ragnarok.
Bit of a raised eyebrow at that, but he writes it down. Then he says, all right, well, docking fee for the North Bay docks is will be a silver a day. So given that you're staying here for an unknown amount of time, we can pay it up in a week at a time if you'd like.
Is that standard docking fee as far as I'm aware? He's not hiking us on that.
Make me a history check.
May I do the same?
Sure.
12, pretty normal.
With a 12, as far as you can tell, with a 19, with a 12, yeah, that's pretty normal for Stilben at the very least. Grouper with a 19, that's more expensive than it would be at Skrios, but it's a different town, so.
Yeah. What kind of vibe are we getting off this guy? Does he seem like he's fishing for a bribe, or?
Give me an insight check.
$21.
This is the person from what you gather. This is the person that they send out to put new prospective merchants the idea that Stilben, despite the smell, Stilben is a wealthy town of progress and a healthy trade, a healthy hub of trade and capitalism. So they send their they send the person that looks like he does the least amount of hard work to meet new prospective merchants in order to give them the idea and the image that Stilben is a wealthy town.
Okay.
That's what you're
I'm just, then at this point, if we can, Gruber will say, what is this guy's name? Did we get it? I missed it.
Yes, it is Erelon.
Erlon. Okay. Erlon, let me ask you a question. Are you much of a fan of fish from the ocean?
He looks at you quizzically. Not quite certain what you mean, but it is one of the primary staples of food around here, considering we are a port city.
See, I have something that I think, even given this lovely port city you have going on, I have something that I think you'll find rather interesting. And I was wondering if you might like perhaps a sample of our wares, and maybe you could help direct me to the best place and those who might appreciate it the most here in town.
What are you going for?
I will go for the nicest salted fish that I have.
Sorry. What are you going for to get out of him? What are you trying to get out of him?
Recommendations for the best place to sell my fish, and also to kind of double down and sell the fact that like we're here passing through looking to make a little money.
Okay.
I'm kind of trying to speak his language.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion check.
Okay.
Flat.
That's a 9. I'd like to spend an inspiration on that if I
Go
may.
ahead. Yeah.
That is a 17.
Much better.
17. Unfortunately, my duties as a customs agent don't require me to simply observe rather than sample. But if you're looking to offload goods, there's a number of shops in central Stilben that are always looking for additions to their supply of incoming goods. Salted fish, absolutely, is one of the things that we often frequently buy off of merchant vessels coming through.
And as far as docking fee Notchcaters goes, silver is the coinage I'm running lowest on, so if you'd kindly just take this for the docking fee for the week and keep the rest, she says as she hands him a gold piece.
He will take it and pocket it without a word. Absolutely. Or rather, with just that word. Well then, please enjoy your time in Stilben and avail yourself of our facilities. I will return. We will send another agent to the ship when the week is out, or if you'd like, you can come to the dockmaster's office, and he'll just sort of point towards a very obvious building where the dockmaster would be housed, where you can pay your weekly dues basically as you're coming in and out.
Yeah.
And then he will go about his business. There's a couple other ships that have come in, and you see him sort of trot over to the dock, look at them. He waves at someone, and then he heads to one while someone else heads to another.
That ship's too grungy for my business. Go handle them.
Basically, yeah.
All right. Well, let's get the lay of the land. Lie low. We know we're waiting for about 2 weeks, so I'll actually go to the dockmaster and pay for about how long we know we're staying.
All right.
Nope, guys. Be real careful in this town. Don't stand out. Don't
literally have to.
More than you have to. Don't come off as particularly
Don't look like an easy mark.
Yes. Yeah, that would be the best way to put it. The town is not, I'm not trying to make a blanket statement about everybody here, but this town is not filled with good people.
And they come by it honestly. They live in a shit place, and it makes it a shit city, and they gotta do shit things to survive sometimes.
Yeah.
Some of them were just kind of mean. They made fun of me being short.
Oh no, there are some absolutely awful people here too.
Davina will give Tinbris a little hug when he says that.
I guess what I'm trying to say, and I'm not trying to be a bitch when I say this, Grouper, you need to be about 20% less you.
Grouper just kind of looks at Ella and then turns and looks at Tenebris and says, "Why don't you and me hang out together?"
Tinbris gives a shrug and it's like, yeah, why not?
Let's see if we can
I think people would be less inclined to give either of us a guff for being short if there's two of us.
That's fair.
It's not how that works.
How safety in numbers is a thing.
Yes.
Tenebris, you got experience. Try and keep Grouper from anywhere too seedy.
Yeah.
Those of you that have
There's just a silent thank you mouth to Najka behind Grouper's back.
those of you that have been in Stilben before know that Central Stilben is pretty much Central Stilben is the gentrified Stilben.
Right.
It's where they try to keep people, the merchants coming through, rather than letting them head out either into the low commons or south to the Bay and slums. That's why you were sort of you noticed that as you noticed that the docks emptied the further north they got. You imagine that those of you that have been through here before have the idea that they probably shunt the cheaper looking vessels to the South Bay.
Keep space for
keep space open for
vessels.
For more important vessels and nicer looking vessels to again keep that image of prosperity. So long as you stay in Central Stilben, you're less likely, not likely, but less likely to run into trouble.
Gold Leaf Inn it is.
And yes, the Gold Leaf Inn is if you ask for any sort of recommended accommodations, the Gold Leaf Inn is the number one name that you are always suggested to by everybody in Central Stilben.
Yeah, I'll go pay for the extra week of docking space that we need at the Dockmaster.
I'll go pay for the inns.
Yeah, someone wants to get us rooms at the inn.
Yep, got it.
I'll go. I mean, this Grouper gestures towards the salted fish. It's not like these are going to appreciate in value. Probably better to go ahead and offload them.
Yeah, if you want to go find the markets and try and sell those sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Tenny, Vina, y'all want to head in that direction?
What did you just call me?
Vina.
Oh, I heard Elvina. Okay.
Oh, Tenny, and Vina.
Okay. Yeah. Davina will just look at Ella and mouth, I'll watch. Yeah.
Martin, Victoria, you want to go with Elafira to the inn?
We were planning on seeking out money-making opportunities.
Valid.
That's fine.
I'll leave you to it.
I should be fine.
And if you've got weapons, she said that she sort of checks her pistol real quick, which any of you who haven't seen her work on it over the week, it looks very different now. Previously it was this sort of like extended revolver, like this sort of Civil War Navy era. The most common reference would be the Savage Navy revolver. That has this like extended forward hilt or forward grip with this barrel in front of the trigger. It's been modified. It looks sleeker and more aerodynamic than before, and there's now a second revolving barrel under the first one.
Cool.
As she sort of checks it, spins the barrels in place. If you got weapons on you, keep an eye on them. That's one of the easiest things for someone to try and steal.
Actually, that's a good. On that point, does anybody not have weapons with them?
Grouper just makes a snapping motion with his hands. Just goes.
Besides that, do you have an actual physical weapon on you?
I mean, I got. Not really. I have a fillet knife. Why are you asking?
I pull out a couple of daggers and I hand them over.
The presentation of having a weapon on you serves not just as a weapon, but as a deterrent.
And you might not. There are going to be times where just having a physical weapon is going to be preferable here to being able to change shape.
Okay. I mean, I have my fishing rod. And you know what? I mean, if it's better to look like I'm packing steel, then sure.
Cool. Actually, I will hand you my short sword.
Is there a sheath or just is it
sheath? No, yeah,
okay.
She will take the sheath, take the full sheath off the belt.
He Grouper will take it and very clearly like have no idea how to attach the frog to his belt. I assume it has like actually, does it even have a frog, or is it just a sheath?
No, it would, I would think.
So he's like okay, is it?
Most
No,
weapons
Come here, I've got it.
Particularly cheap ones wouldn't actually even have a frog. They would have like just like a metal clasp, like a ring lock.
Right.
That would just you would just like sort of connect on via like a short like other ring.
Yeah, no, I think this one does. Like I've got, and she will come over and she will actually just put it on.
Just put it on.
Help you attach it. Yeah,
Right.
Attach it for you rather.
Yeah.
Like if you try to get it, hands get slapped away.
Yeah, there is like initial, and it's like I feel like for a moment we're flashing back to the time that inexplicably they had to wear Grouper had to wear a cummerbund to the Harvest Festival or whatever.
100%. 100%.
All of the good goblins gear is hiding inside of Martin Victoria, but Martin Victoria
Is a weapon.
is
Yeah.
intimidating enough and armed without any gear.
Yeah.
So
I thought you were going to say just is gear.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Make
That's
sure
fair.
make sure your weapons are visible enough to keep anyone from trying to bother you, but also keep an eye on them because they're the first thing someone will try and nab off you.
Mm-hmm.
What does the short sword look like? Is there anything custom about it?
I think it is actually very specifically generic.
Okay.
It's probably a fairly nice quality. Like it looks really good. But it's not distinctive in any way. And she'll say, if it gets taken, it's fine. It's not. Try for it not to be too bad, but I can get another one. It's fine.
Oh, sword brand.
Tenorus specifically takes the whip off his hip and wraps it around his torso.
Yeah, that works.
Yep.
Very good idea.
So it's very visible.
Najka adjusts her bandolier so that the pistol is like right in front, like chest height, like just like Blackbeard pirate pistol,
Mhm.
and then is holding her axe, and the forge maul is always near her.
Martin Victoria just lifts their left hand and lets it flash
Aye, that'll do.
and then puts it back down.
All right. What's everyone's passive perceptions? Just type them out in the chat for me, just so so I can see them.
Passive perception. Oh, mine's great.
Oh,
I love
you
the
got
descending
you got
passive
the
perception.
Nice little descending scale, yeah. All right.
Wisdom dump stat.
Same.
So, you all go about your various tasks. Going to the Gold Leaf Inn, Elefira, you find, it is established right across from it's basically right across from the jail.
Right.
Which is, the placement you want your inn to be, right? Jail in sight of the indoors. It's a relatively large, modest-looking facility that has a large gold-painted leaf sign that has the gold leaf in it, written. Ironically, the lettering isn't in gold leaf. It's the only thing not in gold leaf. Relatively comfortable. You get in. Rooms are going to be 5 silver a day. Basically,
Okay.
for the lot of you, functionally, regardless of what number of rooms you're picking, you can sort that out amongst yourselves later.
5 silver a day. 5 silver a day per
whole
room,
group.
obviously. For the whole group.
For the whole group.
Okay.
For the whole group. That's. I'm not gonna break down the individual room pricing. We're just gonna go overall for the group, 5 silver a day.
And remind me how many days are in a week on Exandria.
7.
It is still a 7-day week.
It is still 7? Okay.
No, Grand Terra is the one where they have a 6-day week because that made more sense.
Yeah. She will pay the whole amount, so that's 10 gold, 5 silver.
Grouper, you are able to find and sell your fish for the amount that I listed earlier.
Okay.
You do notice that you don't see anything specific, and largely your senses are focused on desperately trying to shut out the smell of the swamp. But you just get this feeling as you're going about that you are being watched. But anytime you look, you don't see anybody watching you specifically.
Okay.
There's never
Oh,
an
no.
obvious indication. There's never an obvious indication of you being watched. Just this general sense that there's watching going on.
We overwarned Grouper and made him paranoid.
For the rest of you, no, it's perfectly normal. Gentrified, port town. Nothing odd at all. The good goblins are going to look for jobs or look for work. Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
So what we're looking for specifically is the kind of guard job where your primary duty is to look like more trouble to mess with than just behaving.
Mm-hmm.
Like bouncing.
Yeah.
Type stuff. And the good goblins are not above going to the non-gentrified area to get it. Actually have no impulse to stay out of it because they're used to that kind of area. They are trying to get something legal though. No, wait, wrong one. Fuck.
You want to just bring that 14 down to a 12 because you accidentally rolled the wrong one? Or no, it'd be way lower.
It would be down to a 10.
It would be a 10.
Which would still be better.
Sure, we'll take a 10. With a 10, you absolutely find guard work. That's just going to be like downtime work, basically.
Yeah.
That's pretty easy to find. You get the sense that there, as you are sort of like checking around, looking around, seeing what's available, you get the sense that there's a lot of tension in Stilben right now. You're not quite certain why, but there is this underlying sort of evaluative feeling you get whenever you're talking, no matter where you are, whenever you're talking to someone, of like everybody that you talk to is appraising you, but not in the sense of whether or not you are a skilled fighter or whatever. They're appraising you for something else. You're not sure why. But you're not at the moment able to find anything other than fairly standard guard work.
Martin Victoria's general go-to vibe is very even-keeled. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're going to approach me, I'm not worrying about it right now because I can beat you up if I need to.
Yeah, fair.
So I don't know what they're appraising for, but I've noticed that they're doing it, and that's the go-to response.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Whatever you're looking for here, I can handle me, so it's not a problem. Do I notice any unexpected cultural differences between the gentrified and non-gentrified halves of the city? Like there's a lot that's to be expected.
Yeah.
But anything noteworthy?
The smell is worse in the non-gentrified areas, in the slums and in the low commons and further beyond. The smell is even beginning to filter in through the very good filters of Martin Victoria the further into the swamp you go. Like it's not enough to cause any like difficulty for the good goblins inside, but you're beginning to get whiffs of it even inside Martin Victoria. And there is definitely a lot less care to hide the fact that there is criminal activity in the lower sections of the city. You are seeing more evidence though of the Water Watch. constabulary force of Stilben. Particularly in the upper city, they are at guard posts at various positions, keeping a watch on things. In the lower city, they're
Hey, look,
actively
your friendly guard is keeping you safe.
in the lower city, they are actively curb stomping people at various places with no care for the fact that you can see them.
Fucking stay in line, bitches.
Exactly, yeah. But that doesn't seem to be the source of the tension you're feeling. That seems to be common every day.
Normal.
Whatever is happening behind the scenes is being kept very explicitly off the streets. Or at least at the moment. For the rest of you, everyone can go ahead and give me insight checks. As you're going about your business.
Not me?
You can as well, yeah.
$19.
Fuck!
No, 19.
That sort of scans with what's been going on.
21.
16.
Nat 20.
Makes
23.
Sense. Makes sense that you would get the nat 20.
Yeah. For once, the dice are like...
You could be good at something.
What was the...
You can be good at something that makes sense for your character to do this.
What was the advantage for Tenebrous?
Because I forgot to turn it off.
Okay, so 17. With 17 and 16 for Tenebrous. So with a 3 for the good goblins, basically what you've ascertained so far. Not much else.
Nothing new.
With a 17 and a 16 for Tenebrous and Davina, you also get this sense of tension. And it seems to permeate everywhere. You're not getting a sense that it is isolated to any one particular place. Grouper, Najka with a 19. You've experienced this sort of tension before in different towns. This is the tension that happens when, at any point in time, violence could break out. And not for reasons that have been going on for a while.
It's the air before a riot's about to happen.
Kind of, yeah. Not necessarily a riot specifically, but definitely that sense of like one wrong word and this place goes up kind of situation.
This place is a powder keg.
Yeah. With 21 for Grouper, you're also getting that sense, and you feel like the person that sense of watching that you've been feeling is tied to it. You're not certain how or why, but it feels like you guys specifically could theoretically be some sort of match to set this thing off, depending on how you behave.
Okay. Do I have a sense of what sort of behavior would do that?
You don't know yet. You don't know enough.
Okay.
Elefira with a nat 20.
Yep.
The Cobalt Soul doesn't have a lot of presence in Stilben. Primarily because the Stilben is sort of, as far as your intelligence is aware, constantly in the middle of a territorial feud between two different criminal organizations, the Clasp and the Myriad.
Yep.
The sense that you're getting around town, combined with your understanding of the constant, like, sort of criminal war between those two, is that something has recently occurred that has caused that to shift into a tense stalemate. That constant warring has paused, but in pausing has only increased the tension around it. It's like sort of both sides are waiting for the wrong or right thing to happen before they take what they believe is theirs. And in your mind, from your experience in your role as an inquisitive of the Cobalt Soul, this level of tension means that if something's not done about it, any excuse will be used, and there will just be violence and bloodshed in the streets.
Okay.
This is a very, very tenuous time to be in Stilben for any length of time.
Got it.
That's the information you all get while you're out doing your various tasks that you have indicated you were going to be doing. Paying the dock fees, going to get the rooms, searching for jobs, selling your fish. Is there anything anyone is doing before you meet up again? And where are you meeting up again?
Generally wandering around.
Probably meeting up back at the Gold Leaf Inn.
Yeah. That's where I'm waiting for people.
Najka wants to get a sense of the market. She wants to see if this tension that she's feeling is making business, is impacting business, if market stalls are doing better or worse because of this tension, and if there is any shift, who's benefiting or suffering the most from it.
Okay. Give me an investigation check for Najka.
Investigation. 17.
17. You notice that there's a couple different weapons shops in town. They seem to be out of their smaller carry, so like nobody has.
Everyone's bought up their daggers and short swords.
Yeah, like the daggers, short swords, hand crossbows, crossbow bolts, things like that, seem to have been rapidly bought up and aren't available. Like they're out of stock all over the place. There is a slightly raised price on arms and armament right now, particularly armor in general. From what you can tell is sort of the average around Tal'Dorei at the moment. Everything's a little bit more expensive than it should be, as far as you're aware. And yeah, the small carry, easily concealable weapons seem to have been completely bought out, or just aren't being stocked. You also notice that you also would notice with your background as a craftsman that the Water Watch seem to be slightly better armed than you would expect a guard force to be at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Especially in a town that's this low end.
Yeah, like you would not.
I might expect guards this armed in Whitestone rather than Stilben.
Like these guards have. Some of these guards, you've noticed, are concealing flintlock pistols.
Yeah. Which already twigs the vein on her forehead when she sees those.
Yeah, but like you could see that like no guard force outside of maybe Iman and definitely Whitestone would have any of their guards carrying flintlocks. But you've seen,
at least on this continent.
Yeah, in
So
Tal'Dorei.
It's giving the police have a tank vibes.
Kind of, yeah. But for whatever reason, you're picking up. Yeah, the Water Watch has been financially reinforced recently,
and probably grabbed some gear from black markets because I don't think Whitestone publicly trades with Stilben in firearms.
No. They don't.
Lovely.
But you do know that Stilben is largely left alone by the Grey Hunt.
Yeah, like there's no point in trying to police Stilben's
It's the
firearms.
It's the largest trading post on this coast, in Tal'Dorei, and you don't want to make an enemy of Stilben.
Yeah, like there's also no point. Like, being the largest trading post, they will get in here.
Yeah, much more focused on dealing with individuals than with an organization.
Yeah.
Martin Victoria is interested in exploring specifically the poor half of town. Wants to look into the kind of businesses and institutions that make their home on this half.
Okay. Grouper, Tenebrous, Davina.
Tenebrous would at least take a little bit of time to show the others around, and then also see what's changed since he's been here last.
Okay. Not much. Stilben is fairly static as far as the amount of time that you've spent in it and coming through it. You've probably, out of everybody, you've spent the most amount of time in Stilben before your shipwreck. Because again, it's the largest trading post on this side of the coast. On this coast. So from your memory, like there's a few more buildings, it's a few more the guard definitely better armed than you recall them being, but aside from that, not much has changed other than the tension that you're feeling. Grouper and Davina.
Davina's sticking close by Grouper right now.
Okay.
If he can probably notice she's very nervous right now.
Grouper is. I rolled a deception check without asking, so my bad. But
what are you rolling for?
This is the first time Grouper has been in another city.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's barely explored the other, even the other towns on Tuarkala. He's trying to be cool, so that was my deception roll.
Nat 20 to be cool. So yeah.
So it's just sort of Tenebris is pointing things out, and Grouper's like, "Oh yeah, interesting. Okay." Inside, he's like, "What? They got different sized buildings? Holy shit!" But I think is also kind of focused on Davina, and if we can do so in a subtle way, we can, because telepathy, right?
Is a thing, yeah.
If telepathy's up, yeah.
It's usually up with her, because she's very much relying on it as a source of
with
communication.
the whole group, or with just the two that are with you.
I
don't know what the distance on yours is, or if it's just locked in, and once it's locked in, you got it.
Usually, she has it up with the people that are around her. So currently, she would just have telepathy up with Tenebris and Grouper.
Okay, makes sense.
So. While this is going on and looking around, Grouper is also looking to see if there are any other Lokatha.
None.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely.
Are there any other like Piscean species? Kuatoa, like those hammerhead guys?
No, not that you're seeing as far as in Stilben. No, most of the population is human. You are seeing outside of humans, largely what you get are. Elves, halflings, half elves. Of the other races outside of that, you're seeing orcs. Of various different mixtures. The occasional Goliath, the occasional Dragonborn. Interestingly, for the idea that the idea that bullywugs probably populate the swamp a lot from what you're thinking, no bullywugs, no lizard folk.
Okay.
Nothing that would seem, for lack of a better term, nothing that would seem off humanoid. As far as you can tell.
Are Tenebris and Grouper getting an inordinate amount of weird looks?
Not in Central Stilben, no.
Okay. All right, so just keeping an eye on that, and also obviously, just in case that whole concept that something is off and that we're being watched generally, is Davina drawing any particular additional attention?
Not honestly, no. Davina's drawing the least amount of attention from the group.
Okay, all right.
Davina's a heavily
good.
Scarred human. That's every other person you see.
Yeah, I would expect everyone to be looking funny at Tenebris and Grouper, and so if anyone is paying more attention to Davina, I hope that would stand out. But that's what Grouper's looking for.
Yeah, no. Davina's garnering the least amount of attention from the group.
Okay, all right. Then telepathically over the shared link, Grouper says, actually, do I know if Davina's been here before?
You assume Davina's been here before because this is the largest port on this side of the coast.
Yeah.
And yes, Davina, you did come through here on your way through last time.
Yeah.
Davina, are you doing all right? Is there anything we should be looking out for other than just, blending in, like Ella said?
She kind of jerks her head as soon as you start speaking. Yeah, I'm fine. You can tell she's kind of looking all over the place at once.
If it's what you're picking up on, I've also noticed that things are a little off. Like, people are very aware of us here as out-of-towners.
Yeah.
I think they're paying more attention to Tenny and me. Must be our rugged good looks, right? And he'll elbow Tenebris. All right, but if you need to talk, or you just want to get back to the ship and have a little downtime away from this many voices,
No,
that's okay.
I'm fine.
All right. What is comforting to Davina, or at least what used to be? Does she like to hold hands? Does she like to whistle? Does she like to sing?
I mean, music in general.
All excellent activities for a city in the middle of a criminal war.
Music in general. Beyond that, like her friends are comfort, like you guys. So,
I think we're. I didn't specifically say this, but I assume I can have a little fish cart that I'm pulling. I think I actually have one. Sure. I didn't specify that I put it on the thing. We're pulling it along. I think Grouper will start to sing as we get into the district where the fish shops are.
I'll say with your earlier insight checks, there aren't any like work songs or anything going on in the city. There's lots of sound of like conversation and casual conversation going on, but there's no like hauling songs or anything like that happening on the docks or anywhere.
Okay, well, on one hand, I was told not to stand out, but on the other hand, my buddy's sad.
Fair.
So,
give me a performance
Grouper
check.
will, yeah. I will sing it either way. It will be influenced by how this goes. I cannot sing that well, but I will try. So Grouper will sing sort of a old fishing song that he's heard on Skrios for the docks coming in, which is what I posted earlier. And if people don't want me to sing, I definitely won't.
Hey, feel free. I didn't read it.
You're good
for it.
Hi, ho. He'll sing it in Aquan because I don't want to do it in Grouper's voice. If I had gotten low on the performance, I'd sing it in Grouper's voice. Send your letters round. All our salt is wetted, and the anchor's off the ground. Bend, oh, bend your mainsail. We're back to Taldor Island with 1,500 quintal. That's 1,500 quintal. 1,500 top and quintal. Twixt old Skrios and Stilben.
All right. Everyone make me perception. The three of you make me perception checks.
17.
11, 12.
12.
17. Grouper. With a 17. And with a 21 performance check before. That sense of being watched has intensified. There are now more eyes on you than there were before.
Oh, no.
You still don't know why, and if you look around, you're not seeing anybody. But definitely that has drawn more attention to you.
Does anyone seem happy to hear a song?
No.
Cool.
Somewhere she doesn't even know why. Ella just went.
Excellent. All right.
My grouper sense is tingling.
Yeah.
Hey, we're not dating anymore.
Jack, the Good Goblins. What were you trying to get out of the lower districts, other than what you've already gotten, which is the police brutalities out in public?
Just sort of a sense of this side of the city, because the other side is a lot less interesting.
So
I want to see the kinds of places that thrive here, that people live around.
Okay.
I want to know what this place is about.
So the first thing you notice is that so there's actually a physical wall separating Central Stilben from the rest of Stilben. And even the slums of Stilben, the Bayan slums, are nicer than everything outside the wall. The rest of the city is slowly sinking into the swamp. Faster in certain places. There's definitely a few places, particularly at the if you head towards like sort of Muck Front Row and the Upper Wharf areas, where there are buildings actively in the middle of falling into the swamp, because the ground is either the swamp has risen or the ground is crumbled out from underneath them and it wasn't properly supported. So the things that you find down here are much more just sort of like. There are carpentry. There are people that are just doing carpentry services. There are people that are doing. There are a lot of inns and pubs. Definitely more pubs and inns than there are most other sorts of establishments here. Few different sort of all the basic necessities that you would need in a town like this are still there, just much lower quality than the ones you would find in Central Stilben an area. With the guards out in force, you don't get a sense of the guards being particularly effective in this side of town. Like, when you see them, they are certainly being effective towards the individuals they are interacting with, but they don't seem to be curbing. They don't seem to have, like...
They're not effective towards the communities. They're effective towards this individual that I want to fuck up.
Precisely, yeah. Most people don't seem to be giving a shit what the guard is doing, other than the people that are being directly impacted by the guard at the time. So you definitely get a firm sense, much like with Kymel and other places that you've been, that the real industry of this area is not one that you can see if you don't know where to look. Nothing stands out, which itself stands out.
How similar is that to what I'm used to in Kymel?
Kymel wears.
Are there similarities?
In Kymel, they wear their corruption on their sleeve. And here you're definitely seeing that same level of corruption, but there's a much more of a attempt to
don't talk about it.
Yeah,
don't notice.
Much more of an attempt to hide the infrastructure than there is in Kymel. In Kymel, the infrastructure has become part of the day to day. Whereas in Stilben, it's much more of it's almost like the whole city is trying to present that same facade that Central Stilben is presenting.
Trying to pretend they're on the up and up.
Where the lower area is trying to pretend that is the lower area and that is where all the poor people live.
Rather than where the people in charge live?
Yeah. That's kind of what you're getting the sense is that everything from Central Stilben to the Muck Front Row is an act. To a degree. And that's the thing that strikes you most as odd about Stilben as compared to Kymel. Where Kymel, everything is exactly what it looks like. Stilben seems like nothing is what it looks like, as far as you can tell.
I want to bribe, I'll ask for it. But not here.
Yeah. Eventually you all, I assume, gather at the Gold Leaf Inn.
Yeah.
I'm probably...
DM.
Huh?
DM.
Yes.
Do I have a sense that it's probably a good idea for at least someone to stay on the ship? Or does it look like the dock guards are actually doing their job?
Probably would be good for at least someone to stay on the ship. And Fyron has already volunteered, we'll say.
Cool.
Martin Victoria is also willing.
I could also leave Flop there. I feel like Flop and Fyron get along pretty well.
Martin Victoria can just stand and glower out at everything while the good goblins sleep.
But, Jeremy.
Don't you fuck with me.
Yeah, Ella is probably not like there were like seven empty glasses around, but she's probably about 2 drinks in.
And an ashtray full
Just
of
getting
cigarettes.
comfortable. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just waiting for everybody to show up. And, like, clearly keeping a mental clock of it's been this long. So if it hits a certain time and anybody in particular who might not specifically be named doesn't show up in a specific amount of time, we're sending out a search party.
Are you
Hurtful.
trying to hide the level of agitation that Elfir is currently under?
To your average, I don't even think it's agitation. I think it is preoccupation.
We'll say that. But yeah, are you trying to hide that?
From the average person, yes. From the group, probably not as well.
Okay. So yeah, we'll say it's obvious to the rest of you at least that something has caught Elfira's attention while she's been waiting.
Yep.
As you all regroup together. Except for Pyron. We'll
Oh, good. We all made it.
Hey. This place is in a right mess.
I will set all of the keys down on the table to the rooms. Let's go up and pick out rooms, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Get up. I am bringing my drink with me. And the ashtray.
Is Davina's mental link still just the three of us, or automatically expanded
It's
out?
still just the three of you because she hasn't extended it to the others yet.
Okay.
She probably will in a moment.
All right. Grouper will say, Vina, are you you want to keep rooming with Ella? That's totally fine.
If Ella's okay with it, I think I want to.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Nothing towards you.
No, I just want to make sure that you have somebody with you. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Thank you.
Tenny, you and me?
Yeah, that works.
All right. If I'm gonna turn into anything, I promise not to grab you, and I'll let you know ahead of time. Again, I feel really bad and really dumb. And I feel like this has been like literally every night he has been saying this over and over.
But yeah, you all get up to one of the rooms.
Yep.
I assume.
Get up to one of the rooms, and
That's
I'll
when-
capture everybody in.
That's when Davina will do a mental link with everyone
Cool.
in
You
the
all
group.
feel the connection.
Yep. Shut the door behind all of us. All right. So we need to be real goddamn careful in this town.
Yeah.
We need to be very we need to be careful, and we need to not be careful, because this place, the two crime organizations that compete to run this town are about to explode.
And it's going to be bad.
It's going to be really bad.
The weapon shops are just about out of small arms and concealable weapons.
They're
Guard
looking
is
for
not
an
going
excuse.
to do much. The guard does not appear capable of mitigating such an eventuality.
They might not appear capable of mitigating the attack, but they certainly appear capable of causing some fucking damage.
They're not going to be a safe faction.
No.
Should there be conflict.
But most of the guard are carrying firearms.
Wonderful. Best
And
case
not afraid
scenario.
to use them.
Yeah. Best case scenario, if this place explodes, the guards will come to this district to keep everything here safe. That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario,
the guards will be shooting civilians.
correct. I know I said we probably shouldn't get involved in anything that takes too long, but this at least keeps us in this city for when Rook shows up. I think we need to do something about this.
I was about to say, this place is a powder keg about to erupt.
Yeah.
Is there anything we can do to relieve the tension here?
The factions are doing their best to remain unnoticed.
And people do not like singing.
Rupert, did you sing in the streets?
Yes, he did.
No. Yes.
Were you hoping for the citizenry to join in and do a dance?
I liked your singing, Grouper.
And if that ever happens, will you let me know?
First off, I definitely will. Second of all, it just seemed like, at first, it seemed like the kind of thing to do to fit in. You're taking your fish to market. You sing.
No. God.
That's what everyone does back home.
Yes,
There's open pantomime weeping on.
I would like to let you know that our home is a very special place.
I know,
and most places you visit will be different.
But I've never visited any other places.
I get where you're coming from, and I appreciate the thought.
I feel like I have led you astray by writing my letters in such a way that was not a given.
I don't know whether I want to scream at you or put you on a shelf right now.
Okay, neither one. Second of all, I mean, to be honest, your letters were great. We just didn't talk much about how often people sung elsewhere. I assumed it was the same amount.
No!
Everybody loves singing.
No, not everybody does.
Everybody
I'm
loves
pretty
my
sure the
singing.
only places you can go
No,
to find
they don't.
singing
Hey, let's not say anything we can't take back.
are
You have a
pubs
lovely
that are
singing.
hosting a bar,
Thank you.
perhaps.
To make it worse, Grouper was singing in Aquan, so like I don't think anyone else even understood what he was singing.
Well, at least there's that.
I mean, that's honestly...
No, that's worse. Because that explicitly, not that it wasn't obvious when he started singing in the first place, that specifically calls more attention.
Yes, but do you think... I would like you to compare that situation to the situation in which Grouper is singing the kinds of lyrics that Grouper would choose to say.
Okay, you actually have a really good point there.
There's
You guys always
nothing
loved it when I
wrong-
used to sing I Like Big Boats.
There's
I hate
nothing
you
wrong
so
with the
much
songs
right
that
now.
you sing, Grouper. I love them, but you are a precious darling, and you
Yes.
don't need everyone in the streets to know that.
And
I thought I had
assuming,
swagger.
I am assuming this is all happening telepathically.
Yes, it's all happening mentally.
Oh, in
Yeah.
rooms.
All right, cool.
We're in separate rooms and just sort of yelling through the walls. I mean,
I figured you were
mentally.
all in the same room.
We were all in
Yeah,
the
I
same
figured we
room,
were all
yeah.
in the
Oh,
same
okay,
room.
all right.
So everyone give me a perception check while you're having this conversation.
As this dead silent conversation happens between everyone's
Yep.
brains.
There is at least a small
nice.
amount of this that has been both verbal and mental, because that's how extremely frustrated Ella is in this moment. Perception, you said?
Yep.
I predict it's going to be low. I predicted wrong.
Predicting correctly.
21, 28, 19, 26, 17. Am I missing anybody? Yeah. Elvira, Grouper,
20,
Najka,
yeah.
Good Goblins.
26, not 28.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you said 20 and 8.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah. That was- Yeah. Okay, everybody. Everyone except for the Good Goblins, actually. While you're in the middle of this conversation, you don't hear anything specifically, but you do notice that there is a shadow under the door. The sort of shadow that indicates that someone is standing outside the door.
I'm going to
Good thing
keep.
this is mental.
I'm going
Yeah,
to
that's what I'm
partially mental again.
Warfroach.
Mostly mental.
I'm going to
Nice.
keep doing what I'm doing and sneak to the door and
Yeah.
Yep.
open.
Before you open it and before you turn to a Warfroach Grouper, you notice the shadow there. You begin to go to do your various things, and then there is a loud on the door.
Martin Victoria just stands up and looks menacing in
Not-
the view of when the door is going to open.
Najka just pulls the pistol, doesn't aim it at the door, but just keeps it ready and off.
Yeah, armature goes behind the back. Open door just enough.
They might be asking for an encore.
As you,
That's why I've got my hand on the door. I just look and I glare and I go back and open the door.
As you go to open the door, that's where we're going to end for this week. Say goodbye, everybody.
Oh no!
Bye.
Goodbye.
Hi.
Goodbye.